recording. Mm. All right. So, I hope you are quite familiar about your course specification, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So there is no need to discuss about the course specification, right?
and currently in school we've done topic 1 to 4. We
Mm-hmm.
haven't done the last couple yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So just a moment. Hmm. So, should we start from the first section, that is molecules, transport, and health, right?
Yeah,
And you have, let me give you an overall, I have an overview on this, what you are going to expect in this course of your A level. So that
okay.
is molecules, transport, and health. The second is cell structure, reproduction, and development. And in
Yeah,
third section, you will talk about the membranes, proteins, DNA, and gene expression. We'll talk about the, gas exchange, cell membrane, and transport, proteins, DNA expression, inheritance, all the related topics, right? In the fourth
yeah,
section, you will be plant structure and function, biodiversity, and conservation. And in fifth
yeah.
one, that would be energy flow, ecosystem, and environment, right? So I'm going
Okay.
to start with you from the very first, and that is molecules, transport, and health. This is your first section, right?
Yeah,
So your exam code is YB triple one. So I would say. So the first thing in molecules, transport, and health, that is biological molecules, right? This is your first topic of biological molecules, and then after definitely we have to go into the subtopics as well.
yeah.
So today I'm going to start with you the importance of water. All right,
Yeah.
importance of water. So let me start which you like to share with you both first, and then after we're going to start properly.
Okay.
The major topic is by biological molecules. Okay. And in that, definitely we have to go through. Let me give you an overview on this biological molecules. Definitely, you have to talk about the importance of water. You have to talk about the importance of carbon. Like, then, most importantly, the biological molecules. Can you just tell me which biological molecules that we have to consider here for study?
Um, Hydrocarbons, glucose,
Hydrocarbons in what? Like, I would say you should start with carbohydrates. Then
sugars,
proteins. Yeah, sugar is the part of
proteins.
carbohydrates. Proteins, lipids, nucleic acids. These are the
Yeah,
four major biological molecules that we have to study during
okay.
this chapter. Whatever we have to discuss, that would be circulating around these topics, right? So
Yeah,
the biological molecules, before going to jump into the carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, or nucleic acids, we are here to just build a foundation for Adaxel, right? So the importance of water is the first topic that we have to talk about in today. All right.
yeah.
Mhm. Importance of water. Importance. Importance of water. So, just in order to just start with this discussion, I just want to know, like, what do you think with this critical question? what do you think? What is the importance of water in our life? Suppose I'm just considering like if you suppose the water is not there. So what do you think? What is the major problem that we human beings or all living organisms has to face? What do you think about it?
Dehydration. Some animals will lose
Yes.
their habitat. It's also used as a transport medium inside the body, so a lot of bodily functions couldn't happen.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so it's also used in a lot of metabolic reactions as well.
Yes, metabolic reactions. That's the more important thing. Definitely all of the dehydration and all the different consequences that we have to face while if you don't have the water. So that's why based on this, the most important thing, it's we always use a word or the terminology for this, like it is a universal solvent, right? It's sort of universal solvent. I mean, most of the substances that we are going to dissolve in this water medium, right? And all the
Yeah,
chemical reactions which are taking place in our body, that is in the medium of water, right? So this is just the importance, as you already know, and we all know about this. This is the very basic topic. So then after, I'm going to talk about bit. It's a medium in which all metabolic reactions take place in cells, right? And I would say, like, in which all substances are transported around the body. So, two important things that you always consider while studying this water. One that you already said, like, it's a medium of all metabolic reactions. Metabolic reactions, right? So I hope you have an idea what do you mean by this metabolic reactions. For instance, I would say like you that's a hydrolysis process. That process is called hydrolysis. For example, if I'm going to break uh, any carbohydrate, for example, you have the polysaccharide, I would say you have starch here. Suppose I'm just posing it, right? So I
yeah,
have to convert this into glucose. This is a catabolic process. And in catabolic process, definitely the medium which is used here, that is water, right? So the first important function of the water is, or the importance of water is, it's a medium of all metabolic reactions. Getting?
yeah.
Hasib? And the second thing, remember, this is what I would say the even the medium of transport, medium of transport of all substances.
Yeah,
Getting so these are the two important points that you should keep in mind while whenever we're talking about the importance of water, right? So this is one
yeah,
important thing. Definitely it's Edexcel course. I hope you have an idea. Like application based questions are quite prominent in Edexcel, right? So rather than
yeah.
do AQA or like in OCR, they we have bit low percentage of the application based questions, but in Edexcel we have it's a major portion, like where you have to apply the concept. So you have to understand these things in a way like where you can apply them. You will get some any case study, any of the situation where you have to apply your concept, right? So this is one thing that you should keep in mind. So now the point is, as you know, what's the composition of water?
Um, two hydrogens, one oxygen, H2O.
Yeah, it's of oxygen plus hydrogen. This is the composition of water. And you know, it's percentage there, like one atom of oxygen that is going to combine with two atoms of hydrogen by how? By sharing electrons. And what type of bond is present here? Can you just tell me, like, for example, you have, as you said, there is, I would say, two hydrogens plus you have oxygen here. So you are getting water. So which type of bonding is present here in case of water?
Hydrogen.
That's not hydrogen bonding, not between the molecules. I'm just talking between the hydrogen and oxygen. If this is,
Oh,
yeah, yes, I see.
uh, is it covalent bonding?
Yes, it's because of mutual sharing. You know, the mutual sharing of electrons between hydrogen and oxygen. And whenever the mutual sharing of electron is there, so definitely we always say that is a covalent bond. So I would say this is the bond which is present in the water, not between the water molecules. You should understand this point. One water molecule combined with a second water molecule, that is because of hydrogen bonding, right?
Yeah,
But between the molecule, I would say like within the molecule, that's intramolecular bonding or interaction. That is a covalent bond, right?
yeah,
Are you getting?
yeah,
Okay. So then after I'll just talk about bit like I can give you an example of it in an image so you will understand it better, like
yeah,
how its shape. We'll talk about its shape as well. For example, I would say, sorry, just a moment. So suppose we have here a structure of water molecule. So Hasib, look at this. What is this, by the way? Look at this, like how oxygen is there, how its lone pairs are there, shared electron pairs closer to oxygen atom. So definitely you will understand this here in this structure. Is this a structure of what? Is this water?
yeah,
It's a water molecule. So you can see here, two hydrogens are there. So there's a partial positive and partial negative. Because the electronegativity of oxygen is more as compared to hydrogen. So you can see these shared electrons are even more closer to oxygen atom. Why? Because of higher electronegativity. It's an ability of an atom to attract the shared pair of electron towards itself. So right now in this, you would say the tug of war between oxygen and hydrogen, the shared electrons are more closer towards the oxygen atom, right?
yeah,
So that's why it's a polar covalent bond. I hope if you have studied in chemistry, so there are two types of bonds, like covalent bonds. One is polar covalent bonds, and the other one is non-polar covalent bonds. So where you would say the electronegativity is equal, there is no difference of electronegativity. So in that case, that's a non-polar. So there is not the partial positive, partial negative. That's a
yeah,
non-polar covalent bond. In polar covalent bond, there's a big difference between the electronegativity of the two atoms which are going to form the covalent bond. Right now, the example is in front of us: oxygen and hydrogen. Getting
yeah,
this point? So you
yeah,
can see the angle between two hydrogen atoms, how this forms 1.5 degree. That's important for you to understand. Got it? So you can see here the sharing of the electrons is uneven between the oxygen and hydrogen atoms, right? So
yeah,
you can just compare the distance between these two. Like the shared pairs have are more close towards the oxygen as compared to hydrogen. So this distance is greater in case of hydrogen, however, it's less in case of oxygen. So this is because of uneven sharing of electrons. So the
yeah,
oxygen atom attracts electrons more strongly than the hydrogen atoms, right? So it's resulting in weak, negatively charged region, I would say. So on the oxygen atom, right? And the weak, positively charged regions on the hydrogen atoms, like partial positive, partial negative. This partial positive is showing what? It's showing weak, negatively charged region. Partial positive is showing weak, positively charged region. Getting?
yeah,
And this separation of the charge, which is due to the electrons in the covalent bonds being unevenly shared and is called a dipole, right?
yeah,
And I have already explained like the two molecules has one end that is negative charge and one end that is positive charge. It is said to be a polar molecule. So you should understand the concept of dipole, and then after you should understand the concept of, I would say, in this case, like you should understand here, like the dipole of its nature, like because of this uneven sharing of the electrons. So this dipole is important here, and yes, you should also you should know the I mean how the weak positive and weak negative charges are present here. Getting? So this is what you should know about the basics of the water molecule. Then we can also talk about the this is what we have discussed about the intramolecular interaction. This was what? Whatever the discussion that we have just completed here, it is what? It is, I would say, intramolecular interaction. Getting a shape
Yeah,
is an intramolecular. Intra means what?
inside.
Within, right?
Yeah,
Inside or within. Now we are going to talk about the next portion of this discussion, that is intramolecular forces. And definitely we are talking about here the importance of water. So definitely we are saying the intermolecular forces in water, right?
yeah.
Intermolecular forces in water. So in first case, as we have already discussed, like there was a covalent bond between them. Yes, the first answer that you have given there. So now that is here. So it means, for example, you have hydrogen molecule here, and you have another hydrogen molecule here. If I'm going to make it a structural form, like this is one and this is another. In a similar way, this is one, this is another. So you can see here, there's a lone pair of it here. And both of these oxygens have lone pair. Got it? So based
Yeah.
off this, I can show you here like how this is possible. Like I can show you a hydrogen bond structure. So this would help you a lot to understand how the intramolecular forces, the hydrogen bond contributes to you would say like many properties of water molecules have, that actually make them so important in living organism. And this is just because of this hydrogen bonding. So the importance of water is majorly because of the hydrogen bonds. That's why we consider it the medium and all of the different things that we're talking about, its fluidity. This is just because of these hydrogen bonds. So look at this. This is the structure in front of you. This is what you can see, the hydrogen bonds which are present there. So it like this is one molecule of water. This is second molecule of water. This is third water molecule. This is water molecule there. So you can see this oxygen is making hydrogen bond with this definitely is hydrogen. So what is hydrogen bond, by the way? Do you have an idea of the concept of it?
Uh, a little, yeah.
Yeah, Asim, what are you saying?
Just I have a little bit of a concept of what a hydrogen bond is.
Hydrogen bond, I have shown like it's a bond between the highly electronegative atom, right? A highly
Yeah,
electronegative element with hydrogen. So
yeah,
in this
okay.
case, oxygen is highly electronegative element or the atom right now. So it is going to be bonded with the hydrogen. So this sort of bonding is called hydrogen bonding. So you can see like we'll talk about it like how it is important in the water molecule and what's its overall importance. So hydrogen bonds actually, it forms between the positive and negatively charged regions, definitely of nearby water molecule. And this is as the result of polar nature of water. If the water is not polar, or this unevenly distribution of electron shared pair is, if suppose if it was not available, so hydrogen bond was not possible. So hydrogen bond is only possible because of the polar nature of the water. Getting?
Yeah,
So hydrogen bonds are weak when they are few in number,
Yeah.
right? And they are constantly breaking and free form.
Yeah.
Getting? And this means that water molecule flow uh, past each other in a liquid state. This is what this fluidity or this flow of water is possible because of this hydrogen bond, because these bondings are going to be, it's continuously going to form and to break, form and break, or break and reform. So this process is going on. And because of this, I would say hydrogen bond contributes to the many properties water molecule have. Getting?
Yeah.
All right. So this was all about the water molecule. Like, what are the intramolecular forces which are present there? That's we have talked about the polar covalent bond. And what are the intramolecular forces which are present there? So that is hydrogen. So we have discussed
Yeah.
about the nature of the covalent bond, and we have discussed about the nature of the hydrogen bond, right?
Yeah.
Now let's try to understand, as per biological point of view, how water's dipole nature makes it good at transporting substances. I mean, we'll try to understand here, in this case, like, let me share it you, right? So here, I would say role of water in transporting substances. With this, I will ask some questions as well. So keep in mind, so I'll put some past paper questions for you as well. So because that's why I'm discussing this all. Then after, at the end of the topic, we always have some short glimpse on the this all the topic. So role of water in transporting substances. Yes. Now I hope you can understand the nature of water. Uh, its covalent bond, hydrogen bonds, all of this is in your mind. So let's try
Yeah.
to relate it with this transportation. What is in your mind, by the way?
Water transports a lot of substances in the body, like it goes straight in plants. Sorry, it transports things from the roots up the stem through the xylem and
Yes,
transports
yes,
dissolved sugars.
yes. I see. This is what you're explaining, the biological examples that we have. But I
Yeah.
have to relate its nature of this water with its function. For example,
Okay.
let me tell you one. If I would say, let me give you one example for you. Not example. Before that, water is cohesive. How you will prove this? If water is cohesive, so it means like that's what you have given example here right now, the transportation in stem are the
Yeah.
water and minerals. That is because of this cohesive nature of water. Because the water molecule can make some interaction with a surface. Cohesive means what?
Yeah.
With the surface. Even between itself, we have hydrogen bonds, we know about it. But it
Yeah.
because of this adhesive or cohesive nature, because of the water molecules itself, they have the bonding with each other. This is responsible for the transportation of substances because of its cohesive nature. And because of this nature, water is a solvent. Water is a solvent. Hasiba, are you getting this?
Yeah.
See these 2 points. Water is cohesive and water is a solvent, right? And this is what we have to relate with this, its nature. Why it is solvent?
Because
Because of hydrogen bonding
yeah.
and its fluidity, its fluid nature. It's because of its hydrogen bonding that is continuously forming and breaking nature. So that's why it
Yeah.
is because of that we would say like it's solvent. And how it is cohesive? Because of again hydrogen bonding, because it has capacity to bond with each other. The molecules have capacity to attach with each other, to interact with each other. So that's why we are
Yeah.
saying water is cohesive. Getting?
Yeah.
So let's talk about one thing, that is cohesion and adhesion. Uh,
Yeah.
we need to talk about it with detail as well.
Yep.
So that
Sorry.
is,
Sorry. Just 1 second.
yeah,
Sorry.
please,
I'll
please.
call right back.
Okay, okay.
Sorry. I'm back.
Yes, okay. So see, we have already talked about the cohesion. I hope there is not any confusion here. So can you please just tell me, cohesion is actually the interaction between the water molecules. Co,
Yeah.
co means what? Between, right?
Yeah.
So hesion is for attachment. So
Yeah.
cohesion means like it's the attachment of the water molecules with each other. And that's in the form of what? Hydrogen.
Hydrogen bonds.
That's great. That's because of the hydrogen bonds. So because of this nature of cohesion, you know, we'll talk about this like the water molecules uh, having the hydrogen bonds there, and this is how the water molecules interact with each other. And because of this, we can see like it can act as a it's a transporting substances. So let's talk about the adhesion. And the water molecules not only have this capacity to interact with each other, but they are even have ability to interact with other molecules or with other surfaces. That's what we call adhesion. So what is adhesion here? Adhesion is what I would say water is able to form hydrogen bonds with other molecules, right? And this
Yeah.
is known as adhesion. What is adhesion? The water molecule is also able to form hydrogen bonds with what?
Yeah. Other
Sorry,
molecules.
with other molecules, not between the other between the same water molecules, even with other molecules. We'll talk about this as well. So, based on this, the forces of cohesion and adhesion within the body of water and between water and its surroundings mean that water flows easily.
Yeah.
And you know, water molecules pull other water molecules along due to cohesion. If one water is flowing, it is pulling the other water molecule towards itself because of this cohesion force, because of the hydrogen bonding. Got it?
Yeah.
And water adheres to the sides of the vessel. That's what we have studied already in case of xylem, the water and minerals transportation in the xylem vessel. So water molecules have capacity to interact with each other, and they have the capacity to interact with the surfaces. It, that's
Yeah.
that's adhesion. So you must have this idea how to differentiate between cohesion and adhesion. So just repeat for me, just in one short line. So then after I'll go for its second property, that's of solvent.
Cohesion is between water molecules. Adhesion is between water molecules and a different molecule.
Yes, different molecules are, yeah, yes, definitely in other surfaces. That's adhesion is attachment to the surface, attachment to the
Yeah.
other surface. That is not of that nature. Remember, that is of different nature. That's
Yeah.
what we would say, like it's adhesion. If they will have the same molecules there, so that's we have another term for that, and that is cohesion, right? So that's the
Yeah.
difference between cohesion and adhesion.
Yeah.
Are you getting this all? Any problem here? So you can talk about.
I understand that.
Understood?
Yeah.
Great. So we talked about covalent, polar covalent bond. We talked about hydrogen bonds, and we talked about the water's dipole nature makes it good at transporting substances. So this is what we talked about, the cohesion and adhesion, and that's involved in transportation. And then we'll talk about the solvent. Let's talk about its solvent nature. So I hope you have an idea. This is not, you are in A level right now, so you have an idea how it
Yeah.
is. Should I need to write something here? Like, I think you can do. I've just already given you an example for it. Like in cohesion, this is between water and water molecules. Suppose I would say, just for you to keep in mind. So this is sort of hydrogen bonding here. That's oxygen. That's again hydrogen. It's going oxygen. It's hydrogen. So this all is going on everywhere. Like, so this is how this is hydrogen bonding actually. So like this is cohesion and adhesion. I would say, for example, this is the water molecule, right? This is water molecule. So hydrogen bond in a sense, like we have a surface here. Suppose this is any surface. It's a Y-xylem vessel surface. So definitely it has some substances here. So this oxygen may also have some hydrogen bonding with this. Remember, there is no other force. Definitely that's also hydrogen bonding between the surfaces or within the surface. That's fine for you. Okay. I keep getting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the solvent nature of the water. Solvent nature of water. Solvent nature of water. Okay. Uh, uh before, I mean, what do you mean by this solvent?
Solvent means that other molecules, solutes, can dissolve within it.
Yes. And substance, I would say, in which you're going to dissolve solute, right? So
Yeah.
as water is a polar molecule, right? Many ions
Yeah.
are there. Like we have molecule, for example, I would say, um, like sodium and chloride ions,
Yeah.
covalently bonded polar substances. Like I would give an example of glucose will dissolve in it. So,
Yeah.
so water molecules surround charged particles.
Yeah.
The positive parts of water are attracted to negatively charged particles, and the
Yeah.
negatively parts of water are attracted to positively charged particles. Let me give an example here, and for your understanding, so it will be easy for you to understand, like how this all is going on. So, like in this diagram, you will understand how this all is going, how this is acting as a water, and that's fantastic and wonderful. I would say it's nature, that we marvelous nature, I would say. So look at this. What are you getting from here? Can you see somewhere where you here in this first case you have sodium as a positive charge? Can you see all of the negative charge oxygens are surrounding this?
Yeah.
Is this visible to you? And explain the
Yes, it
next
is.
and explain Sheeb, explain the next one of the chloride, please.
The chlorine is negatively charged. The positively charged hydrogens are attracted to it and therefore
That's
surrounding it.
Yeah. So it means wherever we have the positive charges, so negative part of it is going to interact. So where we have the negative charges and the positive charges, so negative part and the and vice versa. Like this is how it's going on, right?
Yeah.
So this is what we should keep in mind while discussing about this all.
Yeah.
So in all of this, I would say for you, like water molecule uh, are surround these charged particles. So the
Yeah.
surrounded molecules break apart.
Okay.
Remember, the surrounded molecules break apart. Like for example, you have the sodium chloride molecules break into sodium ions in chloride ions. Remember,
Yeah.
so the ions surrounded by water molecules have dissolved. This
Yeah.
is what this is the term that we are using, dissolve. So this dissolve means what? The ions surrounded by water molecules have dissolved in it, and it is surrounded by the water molecules. And this
Yeah.
allows chemical reactions to occur within the cells, as the dissolved solutes are more chemically reactive when they are free to move about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the metabolites can be transported efficiently in a dissolved state. So this dissolving power of water is marvelous. So it is actually helpful for the transportation aspect. So this efficient transportation is because of this solvent nature of the water. Why it is solvent, I have already explained in front of you.
Yeah.
Getting
Yeah.
anything that you want to ask?
I don't have any questions though.
Do you have questions?
Mm-mm. No, not any.
Mhm. Okay, so in this case, just a moment, Hasib, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So just a moment. I just want to check, like, do we have any, Daxel, any past paper question related to this? Just give me a moment, please. That should be from the importance of water. Just a minute. The photograph shows a saffron crocus plant. The plant grows from the bulb. It's about starch, actually, but not specific to water. But yes, we should also know one thing. Mm, Just a minute. Okay. Suppose it's not very direct to it, but I will just it's more about the I would say the carbohydrate, but this is the actual past paper question that is for you to have. It's not very much related to the importance of water, but yes, one thing is here that we should understand. Like we'll
Okay.
try to know this. What is suppose the photograph shows here the saffron crocus plant. This is what is in front of you. The plants
Okay.
grows from the bulb. So the bulb contains starch as an energy storage molecule for the crocus, right? So how many of the following statements are correct for starch in living organisms? Again, it's the first starch, but one thing is here that's related to it. So I will just ask you this question, like suppose why starch is insoluble in water? Suppose this is the question, like already we are saying the water is a universal solvent. But again, on the other hand, we are saying the polysaccharides are the larger biological molecules. They are not going to be dissolved in water. So if you know
Okay.
the reason, so that's what my purpose right now. Otherwise, there's not specific question related to the importance of water. Yes, in MCQs you may get, but in the DAXL exam, you may not have any specific question from here. But the concept is important because then after you have to use it in different ways, right?
Okay.
So what do you think about it?
Let me just have a second read through quickly.
No, I'm just trying to know what would be the reason of any of the substance that's not going to be dissolved in water. I'm checking the general question. Leave this for the while.
Oh, maybe the molecule could be too big, or the molecule is non-polar.
Yes, non-polar is a good logic that we can take it. Like if any of the substance that's not polar, definitely that's not going to be dissolved here because we have to break it. And this, what's the mechanism of the dissolving of this water molecule to any of the substance? That's it surround those ions, those substances. The water
Yeah,
molecules used to surround the ions just by breaking it, right? So this is
yeah,
how they used to dissolve any of the substance there. So
okay,
it means any substance that is non-polar, it means like it's not possible for these ions, these water molecules to break it down and to have the charges there. So water
yeah,
molecules can't surround those substances, right?
yeah,
And this is what the logic that we should consider. And yes, we'll talk about this in while discussing this all. So meanwhile, what we can do here is to get to the point, like we have already talked about the water importance, and then after we have time here, so we can go to talk about the uh sorry. Hmm. Yes. Then after definitely after that you have the saccharides there. You don't need to get into the basics of it, but yes, um, we'll talk about the saccharides, right?
yeah.
So in saccharides, what is saccharide and what's its basics of it? Like you know about it all. Saccharides are actually, as you said, it's sugar, right?
Yeah.
So carbohydrates, I'm going to types of saccharide. I'm going to paste it here for you. Types of saccharide. Types of saccharides. This is what we should consider if I say, right?
Yeah,
So types of saccharides, I will start with this, like carbohydrates, definitely. We're talking about the carbohydrates.
yeah,
Are one of the main carbon-based compounds in living organisms. And all the molecules in this group contains three types of elements, like
yeah.
carbohydrates, carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are actually we're talking about it like it's of um major carbon-based molecule. Getting? So this major carbohydrate, it's made up of three elements. One is carbon itself,
Carbon and then hydrogen,
and hydrogen is here. And what's the last one?
oxygen.
Oxygen. So these are the three major elements which are present in carbon, right?
Yeah,
So we are there because in Adaxel, you have to discuss about the types of it. Like you need to talk about, the carbon atoms are the key to the structure of organic compounds.
yeah,
You know very well. Like that's why we are saying all of the organic compounds, the major element there is what? That is,
yeah.
yeah, that is carbon,
So, yeah,
right? So that is carbon. So keep in mind. So each carbon atom can form covalent bonds, right? And this
Yeah.
makes the compounds very stable. Okay, so covalent bond
Yeah.
is a very stable, um, you would say, the bond, right? So the
Yeah.
covalent bonds are so strong, they require a large input of energy to break them,
Yeah.
right? So we should understand this covalent bonds in the carbon atoms, and we can relate them how stable they are. And it
Yeah.
means like whenever you're going to break them, you need a lot of energy there. And that's why the glucose molecule that we always break during the respiration process through glycolysis, through Krebs cycle, to electrons transport chain, we need energy there.
Yeah.
And then how we can produce energy from there, this is also quite evident. We'll talk about this once. We'll talk about that chapter, specific topic. So covalent bonds are so strong that they require a large input of energy, right?
Yeah.
So carbon atoms can form covalent bonds with oxygen, with nitrogen, and with sulfur as well, right?
Yeah.
Are you getting? Like,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about this as well, like how it's going to form the bonds with the other, like with sulfur, with other, like I would say, um, with nitrogen, and we can also talk about, uh, it can go with definitely with oxygen. Like this is because of this carbon atom nature, right? So this carbon is going to form the bond with oxygen, with nitrogen, with sulfur.
Yeah.
You know, the more important thing that's very interesting character of the carbon, that's of catenation. The carbon atoms can bond to form straight chains, branch chains, or rings.
Yeah.
Got it? We have many of the
Yeah.
examples, like we can see carbon is going to form like this. This is catenation. They can self-bonding. The carbons can make bond with each other. And this is catenation, or like it's going to be branches. It's going to be a chain. Many other structures. It's going to be a branch like this. So this is all the properties of the carbon. So one important thing for you to understand, carbon compounds can form, small single subunit. That's what we called monomer. Hasib,
Yeah.
monomer. What is monomer?
A single repeating unit.
Yeah, sorry.
A single repeating unit.
Yes. Repeating. The monomers, this is just like a brick that is going to repeat again and again to form wall structure. So yes, monomer is there a single subunit, right? That bond with many repeating subunits to form a large molecule. And what's that large molecule is called?
Polymer.
Yes, great. Polymer. You know about it. So it's a just a repetition of many of the monomers that's going to form a polymer. Got it?
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
any question up till now? So you know about this all. Let's start with the types of the with the saccharides. The first type that we always talk about here is monosaccharide. That's what?
A singular repeating unit of sugar.
Mhm. Yes. Mono, mono. Saccharides. Monosaccharides. Here it is, right? So what is monosaccharide? As you said, like monosaccharides are the monomers of carbohydrate. That's straight, right? So they can join together to form carbohydrate polymers. Okay.
Yeah.
So monosaccharides are simple carbohydrates, like you would say, like these are just sugar. Monosaccharides are sugar, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So we would say monosaccharides are simple carbohydrates.
Yeah.
Simple carbohydrates. Okay. And this is, we would say, it's a simple sugar. I can use another word for this. These are sugar actually. So monosaccharides are simple carbohydrates of the simple sugars. Right, Steve?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so then after we'll talk about like there are different types of monosaccharides and that formed from the molecule with varying numbers of carbon. Like I would give you an example of it, like triose. It's as an example. Triose, you know, uh, pentose, yeah, pentose, and hexose. Right? So you know about it. This is a three carbon, like pentose is the five carbon. So what we can say, it's a six carbon. It means like how we can say like what the total number of carbons that must be present in the monosaccharide, and that should be up to a certain range. We would say these are monosaccharides. Like uh, definitely we said like in this case about six up to in case of monosaccharides, you have three carbon, five carbon, six carbon. So do you have an example of the triose? Is we have an example of glyceraldehyde. This is triose. Somewhere you may have in your MCQs, like triose example that is of triglyceride or glyceraldehyde. This is what we would say. Okay,
Yeah.
glyceraldehyde. And what's an example of pentose? Any of the carbon that you remember, like that is of the example of the pentose.
Um.
What's about like it's very common, like it's the pentose. Do you have an example of pentose? Is this not ribose?
Oh yeah, ribose sugar.
Ribose sugar, yeah, that's a five carbon sugar, right?
Yeah.
And what's an example of hexose?
Glucose.
Exactly, that's a glucose. Okay, so these are some monosaccharides that we have discussed on today, right? So I think because we have only 2 or 3 minutes here, so the remaining parts of it's a disaccharide and polysaccharide, and few of its examples. We'll talk about the starch, glycogen, and then we'll discuss some past paper questions as well, because more questions are related to this topic. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
conclude this discussion up to here, and tomorrow we'll start from disaccharides. Right? Any
Uh,
question in your mind, Steve, you can ask, please. Any of the discussion,
no.
I just want your active participation in the class. If you have questions,
Yeah.
if you want to discuss, because it's in Edexcel, you have to understand the overall mindset of this exam. So
Yeah.
as you have already done your AS, so keep in mind, like things should be in a way like you can apply them. Application-based
Yeah.
questions are important, right? Anything that you want to ask, please, or you want to say?
Uh, I don't have any questions.
Should we conclude this for today?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve. Take care of
Uh,
yourself. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Lapis.
Love it.